Hi there, YouTube. Brian Phillips here with the ASH26. Beautiful plane. Had a flight today. It was ridiculously cold, and I had braking issues again. And then I confirmed that this red light is not as bright as I would like. My white light is exceptionally bright, like daylight bright. The green light, again, daylight bright, exceptionally bright, acceptable for day or night operations. I love it. But the red light sucks. Something went wrong with this. As you can see, it's on, but it's not super bright, especially this bottom one. It is on, but it's just very dim. So I'll redo that at some point, but I mostly wanted to talk to you guys about my braking. As you can see, it's working. It's working now because I'm pushing hard. Now I want to show you how you can tell. I decided I would just use the air compressor. Sorry about the noise, guys. Okay, now my radio's over there. My throttle cut's on. Okay. I'm going to just try to show you how this works, because it is working. My throttle cut's on. It's off now. I'm just going to make sure the blades are going to clear everything here. Now, we're not trying to take off here. We're just trying to move it, okay? So we're just going to, a little bit of throttle. Now watch this. I'm going to blow air into it. Okay? Now that looks ridiculous, I realize, because you're probably thinking to yourself, there's no way that would keep it idling. Wrong again. Power's disconnected now. Now watch this. My radio, throttle cuts on for when I turn it back on. I'm going to just spin this and I'll just blow a little air at it. Whoops. I got to make sure I get it at the right angle, of course. See it spinning, guys? That's exactly what I'm fighting out in the real world. And I'm just running some air pressure up into it. Okay, that's what it looks like when there's not enough braking, or the wrong kind of braking. Okay, now I'm going to plug this in, throttle cuts on, and it's powered up. Okay, coming up to speed. Okay, throttle cuts off, and we'll spin. Spins free. Braking. It's on. Okay, so throttle cuts on. I'm going to show you how I did that. Using a YEP receiver has been very good for a lot of reasons. The only thing I don't like is the fact that you pretty much have to use a programming card. And that's where I ran into my problems, and I'll show you what I was doing wrong. I did two different things wrong at two different times. The first time when I was doing this, I ended up causing myself trouble by actually turning on a feature that I didn't mean to turn on. Okay, and that feature had to do with the governor mode. Governor mode is accessed on the second page of this manual, and you just quickly press these and it'll switch between the front page and the back page. The flashing lights means you're on the second page. And governor mode is to be set to off for airplanes. For helicopters, you want it on. Okay, that screwed up some settings a couple weeks ago. Most recently, I keep accidentally turning on acro hard by accidentally setting this F3A brake. Automatically, the F3A brake, if you sample when setting your brake position, it turns this mode on. I've been trying to run smooth, middle, or hard, any of them that'll work, right? And every time I would do it, I would come down here into special functions and then I would set stop, full speed, and then brake. Well, that was screwing me over. It was going back from whatever I had set and putting it here. Well, when I would scroll through the menu structure, it wouldn't read it that way. But then when I would unplug it and plug it back in, it would show up as acro hard. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? So evidently, the acro hard would be for like a 3D plane. Okay, throttle cut is on, just so you guys know. I'll lay my radio down to keep it in a safe spot. I'm going to unplug the battery. And see, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, why do you have your prop on? We kind of need the prop on to do these tests. Some of these tests you just kind of got to be careful. Okay, now this thing is color-coded. It says RX here. So you plug this into this output, well, it's actually an input, rather. It's inputting from the receiver instead of from the ESC. Now, normally I glue all these in, so I have to actually unplug these now. That's the gear, just gets in the way. And then I have a little zip tie to help me pull this one out. So now I just need to line up the brown wire on this side. This does have circuit protection to protect reverse polarity, okay? I'm still not going to tempt fate. Now we're going to go ahead and apply power to the electronic speed control, and we'll see the dance and the song. Okay, that tells you what setting you're setting. This moves you up and down the menu, and then this moves through the menus. So timing is set to nothing, right? That's because our timing is set to auto, okay? That's why this light's on. And this is where you'll get yourself in trouble, is you'll walk over in here, you go to reverse, you go to stop, and you'll say, okay, my radio's throttle cut's off. Now watch. Nothing happens to the motor. I just want you guys to see that. Throttle cut is off, meaning that it's active, okay? So whatever we're doing with this stick is being registered in this programming card and then interpolated back into the programming within this electronic speed control that sits behind the battery here, okay? So at 0, or in our case, negative 97, I could probably use a calibration on my sticks, but either way, it's at negative 97, so I'm at stop now. So when I press enter, that's going to set my lower stick position, okay? Now I'm going to move over one, and I'm going to set the full speed position. Full speed position's at plus 97, okay? Full speed. Special function, full speed. Now, if you walk over here and you sample that, it's going to automatically set it to acro hard. I don't want acro hard, okay? So now I'm going to walk back to break, and it still says hard, which is nice. Okay, I don't think I probably need hard, but as much trouble as I've been having with this braking function, I just want to make sure it's the maximum it can do. So, if I wanted to set it to smooth, middle, or hard, it doesn't matter. At this point, I just don't want to choose acro hard because that would require this setting be set. Now that's why I was having problems, because I was trying to decide between, okay, where do I want the stop to be? Do I want full and stop? And then where's full speed? Or excuse me, not full speed, but where's brake engage? And I could not figure out for the life of me. This would be full throttle, this would be stop, this would be brake. And I figured that would work. Well, it just never seemed to work. It would never give me the full intensity that I need to stop this prop from totally spinning. It was working partially. It just wasn't enough to totally stop it. So anyway, now that we have that set, we'll go and unplug the ESC. That's the order you do it in. Oh, and of course I didn't have this plugged into the receiver, so I have to do that again. That's one thing you have to be careful about, because this thing doesn't know if you're doing it right. You have to be careful enough to do it right. Okay, make sure you're not going to chop yourself. I'm going to disconnect power for this, and we'll just do this one more time because we have to. Throttle cut's off, throttle stick is down. Okay, so plugging it in, let this initiate, verify you're not going to cut yourself, which we're not. Then we'll come back over here, we're going to check settings. Hard, good. Slow down at 2.5 to 3.2 volts. These aren't lit because they're auto for the number of cell count. And then under special functions, we're going to walk in here. We're going to walk over. We're going to walk over to stop. Throttle cut is off. That's my throttle cut. The stick is all the way down. We're at 97, 98. Pressing enter will sample the stick position, or the pulse width modulation that's coming across this signal line here. Then we're going to walk over to full speed. Make sure your elbow's out of the way. Full throttle, just in case something breaks. Then we're going to sample that. Now we know what full speed and we know what stop is. Now I'm going to pause there for a second. Under normal circumstances, you plug in your battery with the stick all the way up. It sets the top setting, and then you put the stick down and you exit setup mode, and your ESC is programmed. Not on a YEP. You need to be careful about that, guys. Some of these settings, particularly reverse and this F3A break, you can't do it that way. It's a different setup. YEP has a programming manual. You have to use the programming manual or you'll make a mistake like I've been doing. It's been kind of frustrating. I'm sorry guys, I don't mean to drag you into it, but I thought I had this right. Okay, so throttle cut is on. I'm moving the stick down. Now I'm going to go ahead and unplug this because we were plugged into the receiver. Okay, there's not much to tell you you've done it right. There's a whole lot that'll tell you you've done it wrong. So we'll just lay that down. Go ahead and unplug the battery. Okay, this is just a voltage tester. That's why you see the glow down there, guys. And by the way, this is the 40 amp brushless ESC, and it's got a 5.5 volt at 5 amp S-back. So it's a switching BEC, which is just phenomenal. And I think it's like 24 bucks right now on Hobby King. Very, very good ESC. I can't highly recommend it enough. Don't let my stupidity cause you to not want to buy that, because it is very good. It doesn't even get warm. And you know, I've done some really long times when I'm doing testing and stuff, and the BEC just didn't even warm up at all. It's awesome. Okay, so you'll see this, guys. I don't have my glue here. I'm going to leave it accessible. This is just my little splash guard, which incidentally has been working great. Every time I land with the landing gear, I get a little bit of snow buildup in here. That's why the gear don't like to close, because the door mechanism kind of binds itself with the snow, but it keeps the snow out of all the electronics here. Okay, so throttle cuts on, sticks down. Let's power this thing back up, make sure everything's working. Okay, waiting for everything to initiate, listening for the song, and it's braking. Now, I had some braking before, but this feels more significant. Throttle cuts off. Now, what prompted me looking into this is that I had a time right before I redid my rudder where I was having this thing it was beeping until I would run through the full range with the stick. Well, I corrected that, but then I never got the braking worked out. I jumped straight into the flaps, straight into the LEDs, and all these other things. So, all right, here we go, guys. Oh, my throttle cuts on, guys. Throttle cuts off. And what I'm trying to impress on you guys is that the full stroke of the throttle stick is actually impacting change. If you're in that acro mode, only a part of the stick is going to impact change. That's your telltale sign that you don't have it right. The other thing that's going to be very obvious is the braking will not work. So that's what I was doing wrong. And you can see you have to really work at it. And the faster it goes, the harder it brakes. So you can tell it's definitely working. When this ESC is braking, you'll know. Okay? Sorry for the confusion, guys. I'm going to try to get another red LED figured out here. And but otherwise, I'm really happy with everything. The Crow is working just phenomenally. And the only thing I'm trying to figure out on the Crow is I may actually back off my spoilerons a little bit, because the wing likes to bend down and I don't like the way it looks when it's coming in for landing. But sometimes looks are going to take a back seat to function. In this case, I can land this thing in like, I would say 60 or 70 feet from about 100 feet up. It's just phenomenal. So really, really happy with that. And it just lands just level as can be. So really happy with this plane. I can't wait till I get some good weather so I can actually vet this thing and show you how awesome it flies. Today was just a taste of it. And what we get, like 6 minutes of flight in? This thing will go for like 20 minutes under power. So easily 20 minutes. And I get this thing out on a slope. I bet I could go for an hour or longer. So anyway, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but thanks a lot for watching, for sticking in there with me on this project. It's been a doozy, but it's worth it. Oh, by the way, I did some math. I got this kit for like 225 bucks. I gave the guy who sold it to me like an extra 25 bucks to chop the nose, and then he sourced some carbon fiber rods. I think I gave him like another 20 bucks for that because he was splitting them with me. And all in this plane, I've got about 460 bucks in this plane. And for the quality it is, I feel like that's a great deal. It's a lot of money for me. I know some of you guys have probably wondered about that. Well, of course, we got the radio, but I didn't have to buy the radio for this. And that does not include the batteries, which I recall being on sale for like 18 or 19 bucks each, and I ended up getting 4 of those. I got 4 of those, but I use them for the Cirrus, and then I also use them on the T28, and I'll probably use them in the F4U Corsair, possibly the P51, but probably not. I've been running that on 4S lately. For sure, it'll work in the Spitfire, although the Spitfire really kind of almost calls for a 4S, to be honest. So I'll use the 3300 4S or the 2200 4S on the Spitfire. But just wanted to let you know, been really happy with these batteries, and they fit just perfect for this thing. So that being understood, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Get yourself a YEP programming card. Struggle through the setup, which is not really that hard if you don't make any mistakes. I just happen to make mistakes, and the cold weather compounds all that, so it makes it harder to figure out what's going on, and it's harder to fix it because you don't have, you know, that quick, immediate, let's go out and test it and see if I got it right. So, thanks for watching. Talk to you next time, guys. Bye-bye.